everybody. Jeff Cowan here from Jeff Cowan's Pro Talk. Thank you for coming back and watching my podcast and or listening to it. My podcast entitled Right Service, Write Your Own Paycheck, The Path to Making Over $100,000 a year when writing service in the automotive industry in the United States of America and or Canada. And at this recording, 20% of you who are doing that job are making just that, $100,000 a year or more. But that means that 80% of you are not. So what are we going to do about that? Well, you're going to keep listening to this podcast. You're going to take the suggestions that I give you. You're going to put them into practice, and we're going to get you to that $100,000 mark as well. For the 20% of you out there that are already making $100,000 a year, you keep listening because I'm going to show you how to even make more. You're going to love how easy this is to do. Now, today's podcast is going to circle around and revolve around the fact that we're in July. This is the beginning of the second half of the year. And so this is a great time of year to sit down and take a look at where you are with your personal goals, and as a manager with your shop goals, and as a business owner your business goals, right, for the year. Are you on track? Are you right on track and you're hitting the numbers like you should be? Are you exceeding your numbers? Because if so, you might want to adjust your goals higher. Or are you not hitting your goals? So I'm going to focus on the one where the third one there, maybe you're not hitting your goals. And I'm going to address the service advisors in this because I want you to get this turned around. You should be making $100,000 a year, so you should be right around the $50,000 in income at this point. So if you're not, let's talk about how we're going to switch this around and get you there. Now, I want to tell you something before I even get started here. Let's say that you're not hitting your goal. Let's say you're off by $5,000, so you're at the $45,000 mark, or maybe you're at 40, or maybe you're at 30. It's not too late to turn this around. There's been many, many times I've walked in and worked with people who at this point in the year had only made $30,000 of income, but by the end of the year they were well above $100,000 a year. It's not too late to turn it around. Don't give up. So how are we going to do that? Well, first and foremost, there's 4 areas that you need to focus on when you're writing service to hit your goals. One is obviously sales, okay, that's where the income comes from, effective labor rate, survey scores, and customer retention. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break that down for you today, and we're going to talk about each one of those. And if you're low in any of those areas, then what we're going to do is I'm going to give you some solutions to quickly and efficiently turn it around. Now, these suggestions I'm going to give you, it won't take a week, it won't take a month, it won't take 2 months to see a turnaround. If you start doing what I'm talking about here, assuming you're not hitting your goals, you're going to see an immediate turnaround. I'm talking right now. So, again, the 4 areas: sales, effective labor rate, survey scores, and customer retention. Number 1, sales. If you're not at 2.5 hours per repair order, you gotta be. That's where all the people, anybody I've ever met that's making 6 figures a year, that have perfect survey scores, that have high customer retention, that have a high effective labor rate, they're always writing at least 2.5 hours per repair order. Now again, that's not the high side, that's the minimum you should accept from yourself, because that's the first step in hitting this goal of $100,000 a year. So, what are we going to do? Number 1, slow down, okay? Slow down. So many times we forget our processes. So many times we forget our discipline, or we're just simply not disciplined, and we open the door, there's 5 or 6 people standing there, and we start to rush through these customers. And when you rush through them, you can't get the information you need. You can't really walk around their car and do a proper inspection. You can't get them set up for what's to come, and you just basically get them to sign, you stick them in the shop, and you've really put yourself up and your back up against the wall. So slow down. If it takes you, because the average write-up takes about 7.5 minutes. We always schedule for 15, but the average takes about 7.5 minutes. And here's the fact. If it takes 7.5 minutes for you to write up a customer and hit these numbers, if it takes 10 minutes for each customer that you have to work with to hit these numbers, if it takes the full 15, it takes the full 15. You cannot rush success, and you cannot rush your customers, so slow down. And I know the summertime, it's easy to say that, sometimes hard to do, because many shops we go into, even though we strongly encourage you to never write more than 15 repair orders a day, there's a big influx of business, and we find advisors writing 18, 19, 21 tickets and the like. Slow down. Just because there's more customers doesn't mean you rush through. Because here's what I find. You know, we'll see people go from 15 to say 20 repair orders in the summer months because of the increase in volume, but they make no more money. Why? Because they rush through everybody and they don't get a proper amount of time to point out what's going on with the vehicle and talk about it and get the customer set up. So slow down. It takes as long as it takes. Next thing you want to do is you've got to ask yourself this. Are you disciplined enough to stick to the full process? Not part of, this goes back to not rushing, but the full process. So look yourself in the mirror. Ask yourself this question. Are you properly greeting your customer? Are you asking the diagnostic questions? Are you using the buy a suit technique that we've talked about dozens of times on this? Are you walking around the customer's vehicle? Are you pointing out things that they need on the vehicles you're walking around, assuming they need it, either based on what you're seeing or based on their mileage? Are you doing a presentation? Are you getting them set up for the multi-point inspection that you're going to be doing once you get their vehicle in the shop and getting them set up for that call later? If so, present all that's on the MPI, because the MPI is worthless if you're not presenting all. So many times we've talked about this before where service advisors won't point everything out that the tech finds. You have to point it all out. You're doing the customer a big disservice if you don't. And then what you really want to focus on is the delivery of the vehicle, making sure the customer understood what was done, what wasn't done, and anything that they declined, you get another shot at getting them back in to get it taken care of. So that's a step. And then resist the urge to not point things out or to not sell because your shop is full and you don't think you can get it through the shop, whatever it is that they're going to do today or the next day or so. You didn't drive the car on the rough road to cause it to be out of alignment. You didn't run it out of oil. You, in short, didn't cause the problem they came in with or the problems that they have. Your job is to point out what's going on with that vehicle, present a solution, present the benefits of you providing that solution to them right now today, and then explaining to them that it may take the entire day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. You didn't break it. You're just there to deliver the message. Now, I know when I talk about it, people say, well, if I tell somebody it's going to take 5 days, they're going to leave. They might. But you can also say, if it doesn't work for you today, well, why don't we schedule a time for you to come back in 3 days or whatever. But you're silly. You're going to do more damage. You're going to do more damage to your sales, your retention, your survey scores, effective labor rate if you let people leave when you knew they needed something for their vehicle, because sooner or later they're going to find out they needed it, and then what's going to happen? And you didn't do it because they needed it and you didn't do it. What's going to happen? They're going to call and ask. The big question we always get, I was just in there a few days ago, a week ago, a month ago. Why didn't you tell me I needed this? Then you lose the customer forever. So your job, slow down here, right? Make sure that you're doing your full process that includes everything, and then don't get caught in the trap of not selling just because you can't get it done today or the next day. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 days. Give your people some credit. They understand that sometimes things take time. You're just delivering the message. All right, so that's one way to get your sales back up, okay? And make sure that you're hitting on all cylinders and at least a 2.5. Effective labor rate. That's another area. Now, if your effective labor rate, I don't care what time of year it is at least 90 to 95% of your door rate, then you're not selling, you're not hitting your mark. 90 to 95%, you're over discounting, you're giving stuff away. And why would you want to give stuff away? Your time is valuable. So if your effective labor rate is lower than 90% of the door rate, and I would really focus on hitting that 95% mark if it was me, because we have plenty of people doing that. Here's the solution here. Sell the value. Sell the value of you working on their vehicle and getting their work done. What do I mean sell the value? Sell your techs. Who are they? What are they certified? What do they know? How long they've been there? What are all their qualifications? Sell the tools that you have. You know, I mean, we walk back into a shop and we see lifts and we just take it for granted, but these lifts cost thousands and thousands of dollars. These toolboxes these technicians have, many times are full of tools that cost them personally $25 to $50 and sometimes even $75,000 of their own money. I mean, sell the tools that you have. Sell your reputation. Sell your brand if you have one. Sell your community support and the like. Sell the value of them getting it done here. And then for effective labor rate, learn more ways to handle objections. I mean, you know the objections are coming, and the problem we see here is twofold. Either advisors don't know how to handle objections, so when the customer gives them one, they buckle at the knees and give in, or they only know 1 or 2 ways to handle objection. You need to write down every objection that you hear when you hear it, and then sometime during the week come up with 5 to 10 responses you can give when you hear that objection. If you don't have at least 5 to 10 responses to every objection that you hear, you're never going to hit these numbers. All right, so let's go on to the third thing here. But before we do, I've got to talk to you about a couple things going on here at Pro Talk. Number one, we've got our fall workshop scheduled. It's a 2-day workshop called the 6-step road to Service Department Service Advisor Success. Now you got to get signed up for this. I personally will be teaching these, and I'm going to show you how to maximize sales. I'm going to show you how to handle objections, how to close sales. I'm going to show you how to get perfect survey scores, retention above 85% within 12 months. Who else can do that? Nobody, me. So come to my workshop. I'm going to show you how to get an effective labor rate within 90-95% of that door rate. I'm going to show you how to do it quick, efficiently. It's going to be fun and informational. I'm going to show you over 200 ways to handle objections. For example, let's take one objection. It costs too much. How many ways do you have to handle that? Do you know in my class I'm going to show you at least 25 ways to handle that one objection? I mean, it's amazing how we're going to do some of this stuff. And I really shorted myself because I said I'm going to show you how to handle 200 different objections. I'm going to show you many, many, many more than that. Get yourself signed up for these workshops. They're in Raleigh, Cincinnati, and they're in Chicago. They're selling quickly, and you want to get signed up. Now, if you sign up before September 1st, for every workshop seat you purchase, I'm going to throw something in. I've got a new book coming out, a new training program called The Service Advisor's Bible for Closing Sales and Handling Objections. It's got hundreds of ways to ask for the money. It's got the right way to make presentations. It's got literally hundreds of ways to handle the many, many objections you're going to get. This is going to be a book, and it's going to be a video training program that's going to be released sometime around September 1st. Everybody that buys a workshop seat by September 1st will get a book and access to that training program. Now, this is a big deal. I can tell you this, you can tell when you're writing stuff and putting it together how good it is. This is some of my best work, if not my best work. So that's a heck of a bonus. If you're not into the workshops, then call us and talk to us about our virtual training. Call us and talk to us about my trainers coming to your store. Call and talk to us about me coming to your location and doing a workshop there for you and your group. I will do any of that stuff. All you have to do to make any of this stuff happen is dial 1-800-248-2931, 1-800-248-2931, and anybody that picks up that telephone will be able to get you lined up with what you need to be the best you can be and make at least $100,000 a year if you're a service advisor and the like. And by the way, we also not only do sales training, but we do management training. We can set up quick loops. We can set up business development centers. Man, we do it all. All right, so we're talking about you're at the halfway point. Maybe you're not hitting your goals. There's 4 areas we need to focus on: sales, effective labor rate, survey scores, retention. So far, I've told you what to do to get your sales turned around. So far, I've told you how to get your effective labor rate up. So now we're on to the survey scores. If your survey scores are trending downward and you're not posting where you should be, let's take some steps to get that turned around instantly. This is one of the easiest things to do. First, you got to take a look at the survey scores and look where you are scoring low, because typically if you get 10 survey scores in, you're going to see the same trend. You're going to see the same questions or type of questions you're having problems with. So first we need to identify why you're getting the low scores. Very, very rarely when we're working with advisors are they all over the page where one person doesn't like this, the next doesn't like this. It's usually very centralized. So find out what they don't like. And then take the questions on the survey and turn them into statements to your customers during your presentation. We can show you how to do that in our training, by the way. And that's where you basically tell them that you've done what they're going to be asked on the survey. For example, one of the common questions is, did you receive a follow-up call? So if I was doing a follow-up call, here's how I would turn that into a statement and let them know I'm doing what they're going to be asked. Hey, Mr. Customer, this is Jeff. You'll remember I'm your expertly trained service advisor that helped get you checked in this morning. Well, as promised, I'm doing my follow-up call right now to let you know what's going on. That's the type of thing we're talking about. And then finally, to get the survey scores up, schedule the delivery. Now, many places don't even do a delivery. They don't deliver the vehicle back at the end of the day. I not only want you to do it at the end of the day on each visit, I want you to schedule it. I want you to schedule it so you have time to not rush the customer and properly explain to them what you did, why you did it, the benefits, what you saw, what they need next time, and all the things we've talked about before in the delivery. It's important you do that. I have talked to hundreds and thousands of customers who, over my years, and the one thing they all like, they love it when you deliver the vehicle back. And it's the one thing they remember. You know, it's the last thing the one thing they remember is the last thing that happens. So if you learn how and have the discipline to do a great delivery, you can turn a lot of things around. The final thing we have here is customer retention. So how are we going to get customer retention up? Well, it's kind of a combination of everything that we've talked about here. Because customer retention, customers come back to places they like, that take care of them, that feel like they have their backs, that don't rush them and the like. So what's the solution to getting your customer retention up? If you feel it's down right now, and if your survey scores are down, your retention's down. So here we go. Don't rush. We talked about that. Stick to the process. Okay, you got to stick to the process. You don't go to a place like Ruth Chris one time when they're slow and they give you a perfect process, then when they go and they've got a full restaurant, they change it. It's always the same. You stick to the process. Don't take for granted your good customers. Make them feel important every time they come in. You know, so many times we focus on the heat customers, that the ones that come in and do everything we want them to do, we kind of ignore them and never let them know how much we appreciate them. You got to let those people know that you appreciate them. Stick to your word tracks. Here's the word tracks that are important. You have to stick to word tracks like the Business Development Center word track that we have, Advisor 1 and 2 word track, the buy a suit technique, realistic expectations, the 3 options, the 6-step presentation, the 6 areas of closing a sale and handling objections, the multi-point inspection, and you have to stick with the scheduling delivery of the word tracks. Now you may be asking yourself, well, where do I get those word tracks? Easy. You dial 1-800-248-2931 and we can show you how to get all that stuff for you. Or you can simply go back through the many podcasts I've done, because we've talked about all this at some point in time or another. But that's how you get these things turned around, and you get them turned around fast. It's the halfway mark. We're in the second part of the year. If you're not trending to make, as an advisor, at least $100,000 a year, especially this year, you're doing something wrong. It's not your management's fault, your business owner's fault, your manufacturers or your vendors or anybody's fault. It's you and that customer. You're the only one in the situation. So if you succeeded and you're on your way to making $100,000, that's because of you. If you're not on your way to making $100,000, that's because of you. Take a hard look at yourself in the mirror. Ask yourself these questions that we've gone over here today. Are you really doing these things? Start doing them, and you will put yourself on the path to making over $100,000 a year at Writing Service. It's possible, I'm telling you. Hey, my name's Jeff Cowan. Thank you for watching and listening to my podcast, Write Service, Write Your Own Paycheck. I'll be back next week with another great podcast. Between now and then, you go out and find as many customers as you can, and you make them happy, get them what they need so you can sell them what they need, collect the commission, and have a great life. Because between now and next week, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go find as many customers as I can. I'm going to make them happy. I'm going to sell them my products. I'm going to take the commission and continue to live the lifestyle that I so enjoy. God bless you all, and we will talk to you all next week.